Welcome to the Uplifters Podcast, where every week I talk to a midlife woman who's doing big, brave things in the world. I'm your host, Aransas Savas, and I've spent the last 20 years at the intersection of behavior change research and coaching. Today, I am talking to Jess Kaplan. So we're going to do this episode a little bit differently, though. I'm going to introduce you to Jess. Jess is going to introduce me to you.
Yeah.
And because Jess is a podcast host in her own right and has this super cool concept for a show where she talks to people about rejection, which I feel like every one of us on the Uplifters should probably be thinking about and talking about more. We felt like maybe this would be a nice way to sort of meet and greet each other, reintroduce ourselves to the folks we already know on our own podcast, but also hopefully help you find a new podcast that fills you up with inspiration and ideas and good stuff. So I'm just going to introduce Jess, then maybe she's going to introduce me, and then we're going to see what happens because we're going chaos theory on this one.
Let's do it.
So Jess is an actor, a writer, a podcaster. Our podcast is called Nopes and Dreams, about creativity and rejection. And clearly I only picked up on the rejection part of it because, let's be honest, that's the kind of thing I want to talk about. But I also like creativity. I don't know. So
you're creative.
I'm creative.
You host a podcast.
It is. My kids asked me last night, they were like, what are your top 5 skills? And creativity was one of them.
I love that your kids ask that.
My kids ask the best questions. They are my best teachers. So Jess has a BFA in acting from Stella Adler at NYU's Tisch School, which, you know, if you're not in that world, is a big deal. I tried to get into Tisch for grad school. They did not take me, but Ohio University was like, we'll pay you to come to our grad school. It was great, actually.
What were you trying to apply for?
For Tisch, for acting. I did.
For acting?
Yeah. I have a bachelor's in directing and scene design
and
a master's in acting.
Oh my God. So we have so much overlap. Okay. This was not in your bio. So I couldn't find this about you.
It's like lifetimes ago. And you know, that's
great,
the thing
though.
about midlife, right? That I was writing for my book yesterday that for so many of us, midlife is this reintegration point where all those past lives start to be revisited and mined for joy and energy and purpose. And so I've been doing readings lately and revisiting that actor part of myself with like zero attachment to any identity or desire, just total play. And it has been so much freaking fun. My kids were like, oh, are you going to start auditioning? I was like, nah, that doesn't sound fun.
My God.
I'm doing readings.
Wait, readings of plays or
yeah.
plays?
Yeah.
And you organize it or someone else does and you ask to be in it?
Have invited, and I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. So yes.
Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
So Jess was also a student in improv at Second City, at UCB and the Pit. Again, all super big deals. If you're not in that world,
I don't know.
They are. I mean, like those are the places.
No one seems to care but you. So thank you.
I'm impressed.
My one
Jess.
fan.
It is funny though. I found my old headshot the other day from like 25 years ago.
Oh my God.
And what we used to do back in the good old days.
Yeah. Was it black and white?
It was black and white.
Composite?
I had a pixie haircut. It was so cute.
Yes.
And you would postcard the agents.
Yes.
And so I was sending out my Thanksgiving postcards and I had on the back of it all the work I was doing. And I was mad impressed with myself.
Wow.
Because I look back on that time 25 years ago and I kind of sounded like you, I think, where I was like, who was interested? Nobody. Like nothing's happening. And I talk about that time all the time as like, oh, my era as a failed actor. I was like, nobody was booking me. I wasn't doing anything. I looked at it. My daughter goes, Mom, you were booked and busy. I had like 15 projects going on. One for the BBC.
What?
I'm like, I did something for the BBC. I don't remember that. Like,
what was your type? Like, what were you trying to go? Did you want to be an ingenue?
No, never an
character actress.
I was character actress, mostly theater, all straight theater. You know, I did like the occasional musical because they would let me like sing because I have a horrible singing voice and I love no desire to keep a beat when it comes to dancing. I just want to move to my own rhythm. Freedom is a core virtue. And I did a fair amount of like reality TV stuff, like before it was reality TV. back when it was like talk show stuff,
Yeah.
reenactments. And so that's how I was paying my bills was with like reenactments. And I had this deal with like the Ab Lounger company where I did all of their promos. So I would get
What was
recognized
the
a
Ebb
lot.
Lounger?
The
What is
Ab
that?
Lounger.
Ab
Ab
Lounger.
Lounger. So I would lie
That's
on their
hilarious.
machine and do sit-ups. And then like once I was working in corporate, my CEO was like, "Oh my God, I was on a business trip in Japan and you were up at the bar TV." Or I'd be like out in an event and I'd look up on the TV and there I would be. It was all
It's like
very funny.
infomercials, right?
That was infomercials.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So it was like infomercials and reenactments on Maury Povich and shit. That was how I paid my bills. When I did theater, it was mostly like regional and off Broadway and stuff. But again, I felt like I had no success. But then this postcard was like a total challenge to my reality. So maybe that's part of our conversation
Will you
on
post it or send
rejection.
it to me?
Yes, I'm totally gonna give it to you.
Okay.
But I feel like rejection it's like relative to
Yeah.
our expectations.
That's interesting. I have not heard that perspective. Tell me more.
Well, I felt like I was getting rejected all the time because I wasn't getting as much as I thought I should, or I
Right.
thought I would, or in the way that I would, or even maybe like the percentage of asks versus yeses was different
Mhm.
than my expectation. But when I look back without any memory of how many asks I was making or how many no's I was getting relative to it and just seeing like what I was doing at that one moment in time, I'm like, damn, girl.
You
And
were
maybe it was an
working.
80 asks to get me to those 8 yeses on that
Yeah.
card. And so that felt hard. But looking back at it, all I see is the 8 yeses. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you, little Aransas. You had
Hmm.
some major moxie to get all that work.
Yeah. So why do you say you said I'm a failed actress? So why do you
Exactly.
say
That's the
but
memory
why?
of it. I think because I just
Well, why'd you
didn't,
stop?
because I didn't love it. I didn't like the job of it. When I talk about it, I usually talk about it, and this is probably disrespectful to a population, but I felt like a prostitute. I
Well,
felt like I was
there is an
shopping
element
my
to
body
it.
around
Yeah. As a
and
woman
asking
especially.
people to like me and to want me, and my own power, my own identity felt super irrelevant, and I didn't like that. And so
That's
I was like,
interesting.
maybe there's another way. And then I got a good paying corporate job and
Yeah.
they really liked me and wanted a lot of me,
Yeah.
and they kept promoting me. And
Wow.
so with each promotion it was like, yeah, I guess I'm not going to do those acting gigs. And then it was zero.
What was the corporate job that you got?
So I worked for Weight Watchers. This is hilarious. I'm trying to read your bio and just telling you all about
No, it's
myself.
okay.
This is our special
It's
episode.
a better way. This is a better way than just reading the bio because every time I read the bio, I feel like a moron. I'm like, so and so is this. It's just
It is
yeah.
kind of more interesting, right? We could just like organically
Yeah,
talk about
banter it back.
it. So yeah, I was a chubby girl who
Okay.
wanted to lose weight, and I learned about this thing called the Weight Watchers, which is so funny that there was a time I didn't know what that was. And I went to join as a member, lost a bunch of weight, felt amazing, and this woman was weighing me. We like did weigh-ins where
Yes.
you would check in with a person. And she was like, "You should work here." And I was like, "Ah, that actually sounds like a pretty interesting side hustle."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize like you didn't have to be a leader and like really be all in. You could just like be the person who casually weighs people in part-time. And it felt
Mm,
like a good compliment to my work as an actor.
right.
And so I started doing that. And then they're like, you really need to be a leader. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went. And while I was at leader training, this woman was like, I have a job to lead training for the entire East Coast region. And I think you should be the one to do it. And I'm like, but I have
Wow.
no credentials. She's like, but you're perfect for it. And I was like, everything they're teaching is everything I know how to do.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, because I was like going through the training, I was like, why are you teaching me all the things that like I do naturally? And so I said yes to that and still kind of casually worked as an actor. And then they were like, you're a real standout on our training team. Do you want to come and take this role nationally? And then they were like, oh, do you want to come do this role globally? And so it just sort of went from there. And I was there for 18 years. And after 18 years, I was like, somewhere in the middle of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not being challenged. I'm bored. I'm tired. I'm like, feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. And I kept thinking about leaving. But by then I was so entrenched that I had no idea what life was like outside of this organization that I felt like had raised me, and started getting more training and certifications in neuroscience and coaching and behavior change, and was doing a bunch of work developing coaching platforms for the brand and working on cool stuff with Oprah. And so it's not like it was all drudgery. It was
Yeah.
super interesting, but I was ready to graduate.
Yeah.
And I'd say this, of course, with an 18-year-old, almost 18-year-old who is about to graduate and move into the world. And I was like so afraid
Hmm.
that I set a deadline for myself to quit on March 1st and chickened out. And then March 3rd, I got laid off. And it was like the best thing
The
that ever happened to me
universe.
because I got freedom and a severance. And
Ooh, even
yeah,
better.
it was great. And yeah. And then everything in my life that's would have been in the bio you would have read
Yeah.
starts at that point.
Well, this is good. I don't even need to do a bio. Wait, so you said you didn't love acting or at a certain point, but you went into acting loving it, I assume.
I loved words.
Hmm.
And I
Like
loved
reciting.
story.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't even not like auditioning really. Like it was fun to sort of prep and
Yeah.
really I just wanted to be able to talk and to like spend time in words every day. So it's now like that's a good segue into where it all landed, is that I'm now a writer and a podcaster and a coach.
Maybe you needed to, as you said, the prostitute aspect is like you didn't want
Exactly.
it's okay. You didn't want
wanted
other
freedom.
people to tell you what you were right for. You wanted to do your own
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So, but with the Weight Watchers, with weight, was that a factor in acting as well? Did you feel like that was something that,
Yeah. I mean,
because everyone
yeah.
cares about what you look like, your hair, like that would be hard. It's
Yeah, I
hard
didn't
for
feel like
all,
I wasn't getting work because of my weight. Because the kind of actor I was, it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't feel like I was limited by it. I just didn't feel great.
Yeah.
And Weight Watchers for me really was just this massive paradigm shift in terms of how I thought about food and my own sense of like agency, again,
Yeah.
freedom over what my body was like, which is why midlife is such a mind fuck.
What is
Because
midlife to you? Can I ask what age is midlife?
I say like most people, I think, kind of feel like 40 to 65.
Okay. It's a big range. Yeah.
It's a big range.
I was just curious to know. I was like, am I in midlife? Because I
You're
don't.
close. You're close, right? And so, yeah, I think it's kind of arbitrary. It's a self-identification.
Yeah. Yeah.
You bring up this idea of like there are people deciding. And so that was one of the things I found really interesting in the Nopes and Dreams concept about rejection,
Yeah.
is like so much for midlife women, I think, becomes about taking the reins and
Mm.
saying, I'm not going to wait around for the gatekeepers to tell me if I'm ready, if I'm right, if I'm valuable. I want to make something myself.
Yeah.
And
That's
so I
beautiful.
think like in that sense, yes, you're in midlife, my friend,
I guess so. I
making
am taking
opportunities.
the reins.
Should we talk a little bit more about all the like boldface name places, just so people know how
Okay,
badass you
sure.
are, even
I
though
didn't
you're
know
going to
where
tell
we
them
were
you're
in my
not?
bio, so go for
I
it.
mean, there's a lot of boldface
Okay.
names in here.
Okay.
You've been in a feature film, playing alongside Emmy Award nominee Josh Charles in The Drowning. I haven't watched it, but now I'm
It's
going
on
to.
Netflix. Play whatever. Go see it or don't.
I'm so excited. And you're a writer, and your spec scripts, which are just like pitch scripts, right? Got attention from Lorne Michaels, from Reese Witherspoon's company, from LeBron James's company, which I didn't know that existed. CBS and Frolic Media optioned your television show, which you also pitched to Netflix and Fox and CBS and Amazon Studios. And then last year you premiered a one-woman show at the Orlando Fringe, and you're a volunteer. Like you've got a lot of things going on.
Sounds nice when you read it.
Right? Like I
Because
kind
the
of feel like
voices in my head don't say that.
is it the same delta that I was going through in my 20s where it's like you hear it all together and it's kind of like, damn, I'm booked and busy. Whereas in the day to day, it's like so much rejection.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of rejection. And I think it's that a lot of things have been almost, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing happened. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
you said. And then her show got picked up by CBS and it premiered and it didn't. I did all these amazing things and cool, and I'm proud of them, but they didn't go anywhere. And I think that's the heartbreak. And when I was younger, I remember I was in an acting class and there was a girl and she had been a series regular on a TV show and she was back in acting class. And she was like, yeah, I was on this show and I was, on whatever, 2 seasons and now I have nothing. And I thought, why the fuck are you complaining? Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
I mean, I hope so, because I think I already
Okay.
said fuck.
I was like, I swear so much. Okay. And I just thought, yeah, like, why are you complaining? You were on a hit show. All of us sitting here would kill to be on a hit show. And even that coach, the coach was like, it's so hard to like make it and then not. So it is interesting because I got so far and then nothing happens. And maybe there's heartbreak in all of it, but I just it hasn't happened yet. I keep saying that because, yeah, I did all these cool things, but again, it didn't. But then I did that feature film. And after that, I was like, all these cool things are going to happen. Everyone's going to want me. They're going to see what an amazing actress. And I played very against my type, which was probably the problem because I'm a comedian and a comedic actor. And the role I played was like not who I am, like not what I want to be doing. So I'm sure maybe that hurt me in a way. But, it didn't go anywhere. And that's what's hard about the business. As you well know, it's like you get this job and you're like, this is going to happen. And then it doesn't. And you're like, I got this and I met with this. It's like meeting with Lorne Michaels' company is like, what? And then we sit down and they're like, well, what else do you have? And I'm like, well, we have this TV show. And they're like, yeah, okay, but what else do you have? And we're like, well, working on this. We've worked for a year on this. So, and these are called general meetings, which there are a lot of actors who like, don't take general meetings. They're a waste of time. But when you're a young actor or young writer, they feel incredible. You're like, who wouldn't want to have a general meeting with Lorne? It wasn't Lorne Michaels, but it was his company because it feels so impressive. But again, it went nowhere, like none of these things. So it makes me sad, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel shame with that because it didn't go anywhere.
So interesting too, right? Like I think it is again such a matter of perspective. And of course, if it feels like it didn't go anywhere, it feels like shit. But like, how true is it that it doesn't go anywhere?
Yeah, and maybe it will come full circle. And I have scripts. I have like 5 scripts just sitting on the shelf, and I would love to make them. I have one about 2 older women. It's like a friendship story about women I think I put them in their 60s or 70s. And I wrote it like 5 years ago-ish. And I feel like maybe the world couldn't handle that then because Hollywood is ageist. And who would dare want to see an old woman on the screen as a main character? How dare we? So yeah, like I can only hope that maybe things aren't dead, that or that they'll come back. But yeah, I definitely see the perspective because when I hear it through someone else's, lens and they're like, oh, I did this and this and they didn't work. I'd be like, well, that's so cool. Like you did all those cool things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, maybe we're all our worst critics. And I think there's just pain to it because again, I wanted to be an actress since I was 7. I was in my first play at 7 years old when I played a fish. And I just knew what I wanted. And then I felt like I didn't get it. And then you have to grieve the life I thought I was going to have. And, and then you have kids and that changes it's just, but I love this idea that this midlife, that we can take the reins again and be like, okay, so the 20s and 30s didn't work out exactly. That doesn't mean in the 40s and 50s, we can't dominate. So here's to that.
Yeah. And I think so much of it, right, is about being a leader in our lives and saying, like, I talk to my family, my friends, my clients, everyone constantly about victim mindsets and leadership mindsets. And I think a victim mindset is one, of course, where we feel like the world is happening to us. And a leader mindset is the one where we're like, no, I'm in charge. And that's a vast oversimplification of it. Being able to say like, nothing is wasted. A, like you got a fucking meeting with all these people. B, you get to decide what to do with that. And like putting it in your bio is proof that it isn't wasted.
Yeah.
You have those words in your bio now.
Yeah.
Like you
that's
have
true.
those credibility markers now. So it was like whatever energy and effort you put into it, like you learned so much. From a like behavior change perspective, that's what you see in terms of people with growth mindsets and people who do big shit. They are people who are like, all right, I'm going to take whatever lesson, whatever opportunity I have been given here. I'm going to receive it and I'm going to like stay in that leadership seat instead of thinking of what wasn't. Not that we're not going to grieve, right? And
Yeah.
we're going to be all Pollyanna about everything and be like, it's all happy go lucky. And this is exactly what I
Happy
wanted
times.
it to be.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like, fuck that. They don't get to take all your energy and power just because they said no and it wasn't right for them in this moment.
You're so right. I never looked at it as the word leadership. Like, I think that is a cool word that I'll take with me, or concept, because this is again why I started a rejection podcast, is because I personally take rejection really badly. Especially as an actress, like if I was rejected, I'll never do this again, whatever, like catastrophizing. And maybe it's the victim mentality, but I like the idea of being a leader and not letting a no define me, because it's one person's. Even I was just listening to a podcast with Will Ferrell, and he said, I think when he was first on SNL, one of the best cast members of all time, right?
Totally.
That people are like, he's going to ruin SNL. He's the worst new cast member. It's like, imagine if he internalized that.
Totally.
Or took it as fact.
Totally.
So it is interesting. And I think it's easier for me to see it from other people's perspective than it is my own. But I'm learning. I'm learning right now. Like, I think this is my biggest learning lesson about rejection, is like, okay, it's a no from that person, but it doesn't mean there'll be a yes along, the way. But yeah, I don't know if you felt this too, where in acting, it feels personal when you get rejected versus maybe rejected in other industries or other types of work.
Yeah, it feels
So
like
it's
they're
like I'm
rejecting
rejecting me.
you,
Yeah.
not your talent.
Right.
Even
Oh,
though
you don't like me.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is about personality and typing and all that. And I just think like my book is called Courage Capital. It's not too late to do big, brave things. And of course
Yes.
I talk
We
about
gotta
so
talk
much of it
about
through the
it.
midlife lens.
Yeah.
And the most hilarious thing I've learned along the way is like I'll talk to 18-year-olds and they'll be like, it's too late. I'm too late. And I'm like,
No.
yeah. So it's like we all, I think, fall into those mindsets that like, oh, we missed the window.
Do you think women have it more?
What's that?
Do you think women have it more?
Oh, women definitely have it more.
I feel like men are just like, I can do anything.
Yeah. There's research to show that
I'm not
women are more likely to internalize feedback and feel like it's about them or their readiness or their rightness or their acceptability. And that's why we tend to play so general and lack POV in so much of our work. And we're like, let me just be something for everybody. Whereas a man is more likely, research shows, to take a stronger point of view and perspective. And actually that makes it feel more authentic and more relevant. There's so much science about this that I'm immersed in right now. But my point sort of was that I just want to like acknowledge you and your total badass bravery for doing this show, to be able to say, this thing is really hard for me. So I'm going to go find people who are figuring this out and talk about it, because I suspect most of the damaging stories and conversations are just happening in your own head. And like when you can externalize them, whether it's with a friend or in a journal or on a podcast, it starts to deflate a little bit, because that's what's true for most of us, that once we get these things out of our heads, it's like, right, duh, there are 2 perspectives to this or 100 perspectives. It's not just that bitchy voice in my head that's like, you suck. No one will ever want you. Because we're not going to say that out loud because it sounds insane.
I will say though, I had a trauma, if you want to call it that. I know that word is used. I had an event happen as a child with rejection. And I feel like there's life before that event and the life after. And that's my pivotal life event with rejection that kind of changed everything. Cause I felt like I was actually a confident young person, where I was like, I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to dominate. I'm funny. I'm out there. I felt that. And then this thing happened. And I felt the universe was saying, all those things you want, you can't have them. They're not going to happen for you. So figure out what else you want to do, even though I was like, this is the only thing I want to do. It felt so painful and it felt so intense that I still feel like I haven't, even though I've been in therapy about it, it still comes up for me. And that's like what always comes back to that inner child, whatever it is. But that rejection moment is still what colors my view of rejection as an adult. And it's God, like almost 30 years later.
I think that's true for all of us to some degree or another.
Yeah.
There's this really wonderful memoir by a woman who's been on the show, and she talks about naming her inner bully.
Mm-hmm.
And like every time it comes up, she's like, damn you, Scott Kennedy. Sarah Gormley.
Okay.
The book is so good. Sarah is so amazing. Her book is so amazing. Her story is so good. And it's basically like, it's therapy as a book. And she gave it a name so that each time that voice came up, she could name it. The truth is, you're going to develop all sorts of tactics for this because you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, again, the damaging thing I think is having it just stuck inside your head. Like they get
like,
more authority.
I want to be like, get
so
over it. Why are you still thinking about it? You know, that feeling too. Totally. The shame of that, of like, why is that one? It's not a little event, but it's like, why does that take hold of me? But even there's so many events in women's lives that like something happens and you're like, why, you know, why can't I move past? It's still, it keeps coming up.
Do you respect that person now and their opinion?
Which, the person who rejected me?
Huh?
No, like respect their decision.
Respect them, like admire them.
For rejecting me?
No, who they are.
I don't know, because they were an adult and I was a child. It's tricky. I don't know. I don't know that answer. There were times where I was like, okay, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
But also like, why? There was also a feeling later that I felt like it was on purpose to make me sad. That's the wrong way. On purpose to, even though I was most deserving, to fuck me over. And I can see that as kids, and you can see like teachers will, if they don't like you as a kid, like maybe I was really confident and annoying. I've been a after school teacher when kids are like so confident, you're just like, God, maybe I was annoying. And they thought, I don't want to work with her. Like, I'll give it to this person who's so shy, who doesn't deserve, not even that she doesn't deserve it. Cause I think the word deserve is incorrect here, but like doesn't want it, doesn't need it, but I'm going to give it to her because let's see what someone who's super shy and awkward will do with this. But Jess is too confident and let's not give it to her. I don't know. I could spiral on that. Yeah. But I want to talk about you too. I'm like, I need to have I've actually wanted to do a podcast about this. Like do an individual episode of just this trauma, which is all related to acting and everything. I'll dive into it. But it's like, I still don't know the answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, one of the things I've learned from the show and some recent guests that I think has been, I have a person in my life who doesn't like me right now.
Why?
It's like family stuff.
Okay.
And whatever, everybody grieves in their own way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really can't understand it. And so I think a lot, I was thinking a lot about them, and I was kind of judging myself for being so bothered by it. And I realized that was actually making it harder to just accept and move on. And one of the guests on the show was like, what if you're just sad about that? And that sucks. And you can be both really sad and really bummed and really disappointed. And you can go on with your life. And it was somehow like actually trying to bully myself to not give a fuck was making it worse than just accepting that, yeah, I care. And it isn't the most important thing in my life right now. And it's not, I don't have any control over it. I don't have like done my part. And all I can do now is accept that I have a really great life. And there's so much that I love about it, and move on.
No, acceptance is key. That is a huge thing. Well, after air, I'm going to start thinking about this. So thank you for giving me that, because I'm like, I got to think about this. Something's coming up and stirring in my body right now. Okay, I want to ask you about how you started the Uplifters pod, but more that's my part one. But part two is, let's start with part two before you tell me that. Why do you think, I wrote this down, women are taught not to uplift each other?
Mm.
Because I think it connects with the podcast, but in my midlife, as you call it, even though I don't know, in my wiser years, I am starting to meet women who are so uplifting, and they're older in midlife. And I'm so grateful I've met them, because in my youth, I did not have that. And I feel like it's once you get uplifted, it's like the pay it forward method, where it's like someone uplifts me and I'm like, oh, I got to uplift someone else. And I hope they uplift. And then we're all uplifting. And it is this energy shift, and it's so beautiful. And I'm just so grateful to be in that. And I wanted to ask you why you think we're taught, I feel like pretty young as women, not to do that.
I think it's super contextual, and most of the messages we get about it are rooted in scarcity. And so I think actually in acting, because it is so personal and image driven, you've probably just crossed paths with a lot more people than many other industries that are cutthroat and out for themselves and feel this sense of competition, because there are so few projects, and there are so few projects for women,
One role.
especially.
It's like one role for,
Yep.
yeah.
That's right. There is one person being cast in that role at that show at that time. And so like the same though happens in corporate environments, right? And I think to a much lesser degree now than, let's say, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, where the imbalance of power was so extreme. There's still power imbalance. There's still a scarcity of roles, and it is steadily improving thanks to the efforts of women who've worked really effing hard to make that so, and who continue to fight really hard for equity. And there are improvements in like the percentage of female directors that are getting funding, the percentage of female actors who are getting roles that pass the Bechdel test, that aren't just talking about boys. And so things are better, but there is still scarcity for that reason. So that to me is really like the systemic issue of modern times.
Yeah.
Because this is a new phenomenon. If you go back 50 years, like not far, this was not a thing, right? Maybe 60 years, I don't know. But like go back into the 30s, the 40s. For the most part, women were still living more in villages, more in community. And while maybe, you look back historically, women might have been competing for mates, for the large part, once people secured a desirable mate, they were living in community.
Yeah.
And resources were shared.
Yeah.
And so I feel like taking that sort of long lens historic view of it just reminds me a little bit more about our primal core nature, because it is so not my experience anymore. I only know women who love to lift each other up.
It's amazing.
Like,
but how did you enter into that? Like, how did you, right? Like, because it wasn't always, right? Like, how did you find these women? Because I feel like I found one, and then now I'm all of them. And I only want to surround myself with those type of women, because
I mean, that's part of it, right? Like it's who you choose. I hung around people who got high a lot for a lot of years because I like to get high. And so I would hang out with other people who like to do that. And then I was like, I think I want to hang out with people I find aspirational because they're creative or they're brave, right? And so then I just started self-selecting the people who were more like the people I wanted to hang out with. And as my circle changed, I changed. And right, like
around what age did that happen?
Largely, like it's progressive, right? I'd say like 30s, it started to change, 40s, even more, 50s. I really feel like I am in like my 40s, like was really influenced by like moms who drank and had small children. I was in the party.
Yeah, that's so relatable. So relatable.
Now, like my people are all people who are just like so brave and doing such badass shit and submitting themselves for stuff that they don't have a chance in hell of getting.
How
I
did you
love
meet them
those
though?
people.
Is it through your
I
kids?
cultivated it. No, I just like when I would meet, first of all, it's how you present yourself, right? If like you go to the party and you're like, let's get drunk, right? Like you're going to attract the people who are like, let's get drunk.
Right.
If you go to the party and you're like, my kids are fucking annoying, you're going to attract the moms who complain about their kids. If you go to the party and you're like, I'm writing a book about doing big, brave things, you're going to attract people who are like, oh, that sounds so much fun. Right. And so I do think like the stories we tell about ourselves and what like our actions influence our identity, influence our perception of ourselves, and then the perception we offer up to others.
But don't you think there's also a vulnerability to that? For you to go to a party and be like, I'm writing a book. Wow, that's brave. I'm sorry. That's some brave shit.
It doesn't feel brave anymore though, because I did it a couple times. It felt brave in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it was normalized, right?
I
So
even
our bravery goes through
anxious
thresholds.
to talk about that I have a podcast.
Oh my gosh. Girl.
Even though I am so proud of it, just for listeners, like I love
really
doing it. Thank you. You're very sweet. But like at parties, people are like, oh, what do you know? It's like, what do you do or whatever? It's like, oh, I'm a failed actress. I have a podcast. What's it about? Creativity and rejection. I don't know. I live in a weird
it's so good.
place. So creativity is
if you want to be around warm and vulnerable people, you have to act warm and vulnerable.
I'll work on the warmth. Wait, that was a joke.
It's good.
Very dry humor. There was like
dry.
that long pause. That was actually great comedy. No, I am very warm. I am warm, guys.
You are warm. And you're clearly vulnerable, or you wouldn't be hosting a show called Nopes and Dreams.
Yeah.
Right? You just like, you're telling yourself a story that you aren't. And you're actually really crazy freaking brave. My bestie and I, like, our whole relationship is built around like egging each other on to do brave shit. And we talk every Friday. And really, that's kind of where it started, is like, she is the most creatively generous human on the planet. And as we became friends, I was like, we met through running. And I was like, she's like your age, like she's quite a bit younger than me. She is a total badass. She's done so much amazing work. And I was like, oh, I really like this person. And I would like it if my life was populated by people like this. And so that's a big part of it, right? Like I met one person and I was like, I really like this relationship. I like this friendship. I like what we talk about. I like what we think about. And so then I started to be a leader and create opportunities like that. And I started showing up like that. I was like, well, what is it I like about that? I was like, well, she's just like boldly generous and believes that this isn't a zero-sum game, that it's actually a pie that grows exponentially every time we give it away. And so I started being that way. And now if you ask people who know me, that's what they're going to tell you. I don't know.
Well, I love
that
the
was
idea
always the case.
that you can cultivate it. Like for listeners to be like, well, how do I get there? It's like, just today start, and that you change that. Also, I wanted to ask so how do you uplift? I'll say how you uplifted me so I can tell the audience. So Michelle connected us. You could have said, I don't want to talk to her. Oh, she has a podcast. I don't need to talk to her. Like you can say no, right?
Of course.
You said yes. You were so lovely. You spoke to me. And I was even nervous to be like, can we do a collaborating podcast? Like I was nervous to ask for what I want, which was, hey, can we do this thing where we like collab together? Because you're a pro now, you're in this 3 years, and I'm new to it. And you were so gracious to me, answered all my questions. Like to me, you uplifted me. You're an uplifter. So what in other ways have you uplifted friends, strangers? Like what are your go-tos, if you will?
I think actually, and you hit on something super, super important. And I'm so glad it felt that way to you. Like, did it cost me anything? No. Was it hard in any way?
Time and energy.
Yeah. And I just believe that as women, especially, but as humans in general, our relationships are everything. And I don't say that in a transactional way at all, actually. I just say that, like, if I am surrounded by stories of people who are doing brave things, I am more likely, according to very sound and extensive bodies of research, to do more big, brave things. Our behaviors and our mindsets and our beliefs are wildly shaped by the people we're around. And so, like, I believe that if I'm that kind of person, I'm going to be around that kind of person.
Mm.
And so that's number one, that this is not a zero sum game. And if you believe it is, you are going to feel like people are stealing your energy and your time and your resources and your ideas. And you're going to feel empty and betrayed and exhausted. And if you believe that you have something to learn from every person you talk to,
Mm.
that other people are creatively energizing and stimulating, and like talking to you is going to perk me up and add some novelty to something I do every day of the week, and that like this will imbue me with new energy and ideas and creativity and excitement because you are where you are in this journey, then it's a hell yes.
Yeah.
And it feels so easy. And I'm like, oh, if I can introduce you to someone, maybe that helps you, right? And there is a truth. The tides rise
Yes.
together.
But I'm saying we were taught, or I'll say I was taught,
Yeah.
not that. Like,
Zero sum.
don't help
Yes.
her because then
Yeah.
it might affect you and then you won't. It's like, no. And as you said, like, if I help someone, it helps me.
Yes.
It's like a full circle. I don't know.
Exactly.
It comes back to me, boomerangs.
And I think what you said about the asking for what you wanted is actually a big, big piece of it. So every event that I do, and I host both live and virtual events pretty frequently, it all centers around this one agreement, which is lift and be lifted. And the lift is ask yourself, what do you have an abundance of? You have a podcast, you have experience as an actor, as a writer, you've been to these general meetings. I don't know what that is, right? Like I've never been there. I don't know that perspective.
Yeah.
You have all these experiences and all these gifts and all these resources and this network and community. So you are rich and you have a bunch to share. So first, it's acknowledging what you have. The second is be lifted. And that is the harder part for most of the women I talk to. Which is asking for what you want.
Okay.
And I had a woman, the first time I did one of these events, I did a little feedback survey, and like out of 100 people, 99 of them were like, oh my God, this is the most amazing day. I have never felt so uplifted. I've never felt so supportive. I've never seen women act like this, all the things you said, right? And people were just like gaga. And it was when I finally realized, like, sorry, I'm digressing 50 times in one sentence.
Don't
But
worry.
you talk about how like, nothing feels like it gets traction. That decision to frame things through lift and be lifted was actually the idea with the most traction that I've ever had, because it was the one that like hit the need the most clearly. There was one woman though in the feedback survey who was like, I felt like I was asked to give a lot, but didn't get as much in return. And I was like, I did not take that as rejection for my principal, which I would have in other times. I took it as, I wish I knew who that was so that I could help her learn to ask for what she needs. Because the reason she felt like she wasn't getting her needs met isn't because nobody was helpful.
Right.
Because these women are crazy committed to helping. I've literally never seen anybody ask for something and not get 10 ideas.
Can you explain what it is again? Because I want to come to the next one. It's on Zoom, but what do you call them? It's called something.
Lift and be lifted.
Oh, it is called that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Lift and be lifted. Really consistent
Yes.
there.
Great.
And so, yeah, we do them on Zoom. We do them in person. I do it. We do retreats. We do one-day events. We do all sorts of opportunities. And then I also do it just sort of haphazardly on my Substack in the chat for paid subscribers. And then I have a WhatsApp group right now. Anyway, there's lots of places to access all these women.
Just everywhere.
And people are just so generous because we are I think we feel richer when we acknowledge for ourselves that we have something to share.
Okay, wait, I'm going to throw a wrench in this.
Yes.
This is a question.
Do it.
Because you're saying that most of the women you're surrounding yourself are, let's say, 40 plus.
Mm-hmm.
What about these 30 somethings? I just left the 30s. So I've said goodbye to my 30s, which I actually loved my second half of my 30s. Are they uplifting? Are you coming across 30 somethings that are like, let's do this too? Or they're not there yet?
I have to say the 30 somethings that come to the events because they're like, I want a window into my future is really why they come. They are in some cases the most resourced and the most generous.
Really?
Yeah. I think people are just,
I'm judging. I'm not saying like
most
30s
people
aren't.
want to be helpful.
Yeah.
I did a survey of 1,000 women when I first made this transition out of corporate. And I was like, how
How
do
do
you
you do
define
that?
what a
How do
good
you get
life is?
1,000 people to survey? Okay.
I'm super proud of the process. So I'll
Okay.
tell you
You're a
all about the
badass. You
nuts
know
and
how to
bolts.
do.
But basically, I was just like, yeah, I can tell
Yeah.
you the whole process. But I
Okay.
got 1,000 women to answer this survey and then did a full manual assessment of it because this was before AI. It came out, people were only saying 3 things over and over.
Okay. What were they
They
saying?
wanted to be well, like physically and mentally
Healthy. Yeah.
healthy. They wanted to have deep, meaningful relationships.
Yes.
And they wanted to make a difference. They wanted to contribute and have positive impact. And I've done other research through my consulting work with much bigger sample sizes. And that urge to do good, to have a positive impact, to leave a legacy, to do work with meaning, it is so consistent. It is a deep human desire. And so most of us are kind of just trying to figure out through the vagaries and the hiding what other people want. And we're so fucking exhausted by trying to figure that out on our own that we feel like we're getting it wrong all the time or that like it's too hard. And so the second you say to people, no, 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 this is a place to be brave and awkward and weird and just say you want something and like actually say what you want. Listen to my podcast, buy my book, invite me to your so and so. Let's collaborate. Like just saying that feels so hard for so many of us. And
I
so
think that's
actually the
me.
most radical thing I've ever done is just say, okay, I'm expecting you to do that.
I mean, you just saying all that, like my stomach's like, oh no, I can't ask that. But wow, why? Whoa, the shift in my life. And that's anyone who wants to follow me on Instagram. I get so
Yeah.
cringe. I'm so cringe because I'm not a social media person. Like, although I'm a millennial and you're like, well, you say me. Sure. But I don't enjoy it. Like I don't subscribe. Like it just feels so cringe to me. I don't like it, but also I need followers. Like I want people to see and listen to my podcast. But asking for that, like a friend just recently was like, why don't you just go on Instagram and be like, hey guys, like, I know I don't have a lot of followers, but if you could share, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
so
You
it's
can.
wow. Well,
Like
I can't wait
people
to go to
want
your
to help
next.
you. They don't know what you want.
I know, but
I
guess I feel, I don't know if shame's the right word. Maybe it's shame or embarrassed. I think it's embarrassed. Like to be like grovelly and say, oh, can you follow me? It feels so trivial and I feel stupid
And needy.
and needy.
Yeah. I think as women, we are trained that way. And I've done so much research on the history of this over the last year. And we are trained from a very young age to not want, to not ask for our needs to be met, to not be needy or hungry or thirsty. But, right, like that is the
Like
biggest
literally,
shame
you
you
can't
can
be
heap upon
hungry.
a woman. And it creates an impossible expectation because, of course, we want things. And so we
Yeah.
just keep denying ourselves. And I mean, there are people who would say that that is the root of so much of the obesity epidemic in America is that nobody is meeting our needs. And so the easiest thing we can do is try to give ourselves some pleasure and meet our own desires with poisons and things that ultimately maybe not, providing us a lot of joy long term, but at least meet the needs short term,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's drugs, it's alcohol, you name it, because it's like we just want to be heard. We want response to our need. And so, like, what's the antidote to that? It's to just ask for what we need over and over and over again.
Yeah. And connection. I do think that I've always been fascinated by group therapy. Like I always wanted to do group therapy. I did anger management in my 20s, guys. But my goal was to be like, I want to go to a group anger management where I'm around a bunch of angry people and we can like be angry together and heal together. It didn't happen. It's like it closed. I was living in New York City and I worked with the anger management person, but like it was just me, her one-on-one. But there is something about the collective where if we're all doing it together, I think that's why I'm not an addict, but I'm fascinated by, 12-step programs because there's something, they're so supportive of each other. And I always joke, I'm like, why do I have to have an addiction problem to get that love? Like I want this 12-step program love or group love from just like, whether it's creativity or like a 12-step program for rejection, because my friend was in AA for 5 years, and I was just the bonding and the love and if I have a problem, I call this person, she shows up for me. And I'm like, well, I just want that in life, because we all are struggling. We all have addictions in different ways, food, numbing, whatever it is, like working. But anyways, I digress, but it's all fascinating.
I think what you're asking for, though, is collective agreement and vulnerability, like an agreement to say like, oh, we're going to be flawed. We're going to make mistakes. There's a woman who was on the show who is a world record holding juggler. That means that she juggles while jogging.
I was going to say, okay, juggler. Cool.
Yep. She's awesome. Carly Swaim. And she grew up believing that she could not make mistakes, like a perfectionist to the nth degree, absolute paralysis of perfectionism. And juggling is actually where she learned her way through the power of mistakes. She went somewhere where people were like, no, juggling has to have mistakes.
Yes. Yeah, the ball has to drop eventually.
Expectation of mistake making. And it literally changed her entire life, because she started like letting herself make mistakes there. And she started seeing like her learning capacity and what happened when she dropped a ball and then picked it up, and that she got better. And so then like her entire relationship with her work, with her husband, right? Like all these things changed as a result of that. So yeah, I do think like rejection tolerance, which is what you're learning.
Yes.
And mistake tolerance are the key to unlocking everything. But I'll give you my little shortcut to this like asking more comfortably question.
Okay.
Which is to caveat it and to be really honest and acknowledge that it's hard and awkward for you.
At the start, meaning like, this is hard for me.
To say honestly,
okay.
I feel so uncomfortable asking this.
Yes.
But it would mean the world to me if you did this.
Good.
And like people are going to care. People care because they're humans.
And the worst that happens is they say,
there are a couple sick psycho killers out there, but like 99.999% of the people you know are like great humans who just want to know how to help.
Yeah. And it must, as you said, like giving, if someone asked for help and I had the resources to give it to them, I would love that. I'd be like, ooh, guess what? I know that person. I'm going to introduce you, or whatever it is. Like
it's amazing.
There must be a pleasure to that as well.
Literally everything in my life is because of that. Girl, I was telling somebody asked me the story of my life the other day, and it was a woman I really don't know. And like, I went through like 4 or 5 little stories, and she goes, oh, so you're just like, you have angels all around you. And I was like, it's a weird thing to say. I've never said that. But I was like, oh my God, yes. And I don't know if I would call them angels. That word feels a little loaded to me. But I have really great humans at every step of my life have stepped in and said, here, let me help you. And literally like everything in my life, my book deal is entirely because I told that super generous creative friend that I was talking about my idea, and then I wanted to write a book. And she was like, yeah, you should do that. She was like, you should write a proposal. And so I like made up how you write a book proposal.
Oh my God.
Good. And she was like, let me send this to this one editor I know. And that editor was like, I like this idea. I like you. This is a terrible proposal. She was so nice about it. She wouldn't say it that way, but that was the undercurrent. She was like, go to this lady and she'll teach you how to write a proper proposal and then send it back to me. I went to that woman, hired her, Rochelle Fredson. She taught me how to write a proposal, wrote the proposal, took it back to Diana Ventimiglia, the publisher, who was moving from Sounds True to Hachette to Grand Central Balance. And she was like, this is like, got it. And then I didn't really hear from her, didn't hear from her. It was super quiet. And then I was like, wait, I think I didn't write the right proposal for the right book. I was like, stay tuned. I'm going to go write something different now. I wrote a third proposal. These
about
like 90 pages.
A different book? 90 pages?
Different book. Send it to her a third time. That one, she read right away. We talked right away. And she's like, I'm pitching it to my team now. And I have no agent. I have a book deal with a big 5 publisher. Literally, it's because though, I mean, Diana was amazing and Diana is such a generous, but she's doing her job, right? Like she's out to look for talent. But I only knew the right person because I had cultivated a circle of great people and she already loved Kara.
Yeah. She trusted
Kara
her.
loved me.
Yeah.
Diana loved Kara. Now, how did Kara meet Diana? Well, through another friend, Katie, who had worked with Diana. And because she loved Katie, she already loved Kara. So that's it. Like there's all these stories, I feel like in history of like all these successful artists who all hung out together and all these successful writers who all hung out together and they're all besties and they all went to college together and they were roommates. And you're like, are they really that much more talented than everyone else? Or is it just that they were together and they lift each other up?
Well, I felt that way with men. So like as an actor, like Adam Sandler, right? My God, he puts all of his best friends in all of his movies, whether it's small roles, all of his movies, like it's always repeat people. He wants to work with the same people, the same crew, the same actors. He wants to work with his best friend. He's funny. You come in like he's an uplifter. And the Judd Apatow world, that comedy world, same thing. And I'm not saying it doesn't work with women. Amy Schumer does that. Like she uses the same people and she seems to be an uplifter. Again, I don't know any of these people personally, so don't want to get mad at me. But I found that I was seeing it as I was a younger actor. It's so interesting. All the men are lifting each other up. Like, oh, we went to NYU together. Like I'm thinking of David Wayne and Wet Hot American Summer. Those 3 guys, they all uplift each other. They all kept working. The state people, the this people, the UCB people. But then I couldn't find it in women when I was younger. I'm not saying now, but it is not as common. And that makes me sad.
Maybe too,
and I'm only speaking of the entertainment industry, not other industries.
Yeah. Well, but I think too, now that you're really making me think about this too, that maybe like we need this explicit agreement in order to give generously, that we need to believe that our needs will be met. Otherwise, like we do go into that scarcity mindset and we start to feel like, oh, I don't have anything to offer or I'm going to go hungry. So I better not give what I have. And
is it a perspective change? You know what it is too?
Belief change.
Maybe because I've heard so many I listen to a lot of podcasts about actors and like their story or interviews. And it's always the men that are like, yeah, I was just at the club and whatever. And then I met this guy and he was like, come be in my and then I became a movie star. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not to say it doesn't happen for women, but again, it feels like, as you said, the men don't have that scarcity mindset where they're just like, oh, hey, you're cool. You want to come be in my movie? Oh, you've never done anything. I don't know anything about you, but you just seem cool. That's like what I want. And maybe, as you said, like I have to create it. I have to be the change.
You have to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
be the change.
Be the change. Wait, you never answered how you actually started Uplifters. Like, how'd you get the title? I know you're an uplifter, but where did it begin?
So the title actually really did kind of come because I did a lot of market research and asked people like, what is the essence of me? And people were like, you're so uplifting.
Brilliant, though.
I don't think I really understood. I mean, I'm still every day figuring out more about what this means and what's needed. So the original concept was I felt like there were so many women who were out giving everything to everyone and were just so wildly generous and nobody was looking out for them. And I was like, let's tell their stories and talk about how they take care of themselves. And the truth is what really needed to happen, I think, is that we needed to take care of each other.
Yeah.
And
commune style, mommune or whatever.
Oh my God, yes.
I just heard that word, a mommune.
Yeah, I read about it last week too.
Could we call it a woman moon? I don't know how to say it because you don't have to be a mom, but
right. You could be.
You know what I mean?
A wommune.
TM.
But I like guys too. I mean, like my husband is the most uplifting person I know.
No, guys are so uplifting,
and
but we need to it's like be like a man. I don't know.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. It's not operating from that place of scarcity and fear, which a lot of men have, but women are just really ingrained with from the very beginning, as you said. The sense of
Well,
competition and
you're making
identity
the
being
change, which I
making the
love.
change.
And
Yeah,
I keep
pretty
thinking
good.
of the word virus, which is a negative thing, but what is the positive thing of a virus where you spread it?
Contagion,
But isn't
positive.
that bad?
Contagion is good.
It is? Okay,
Contagion,
I'm
you
thinking of
like you
that
talk about
movie.
idea contagion, right? Can
Okay,
be good
yeah.
or bad. It depends on what the
Okay.
idea is. A virality, yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I would like to start a movement of people who believe
you have.
that there is good in the world and that we can all take care of each other. And like the most
Mm,
challenging political conversations I've had have been ones where it's like, this is my pie. And if anybody eats it, I will go hungry. And so it's sort of a theme that goes across everything that I do is this like ever increasing belief because it's not like I've always had this, right? My parents were so poor when I was little that my mom literally had to look for coins on the street to find enough money to buy a can of condensed milk to fuel her body with a baby in it. Right? Like they were very poor. My
I'm so
father was
sorry.
super abusive. Like it's not like I like had this like sense of abundance all my life. And I still struggle with like a financial scarcity a little bit,
Yeah,
even though like my needs are cared for. I'm
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I can live with what I have, right? Like, and so it's not like it's a thing that I'm like immune to.
yeah,
But the more I act like an abundant person, and I hate using that word because it sounds so like woo woo, but the more I believe the world is
yeah,
abundant, the more it is.
yeah. It's hard when you're in that dark place because I know as
Mm.
someone who's battled depression and anxiety, and now that I'm out of it and I'm like, yeah, it's perspective and change your mind. But when I was in the darkness and people are like, it's how you think, I'm like, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah.
But it is. And that's why when I see other people in a space, I'm like, only they can get out of it. As much as I want to help them,
Mm-hmm.
I can do
Mm-hmm.
my best in supporting them. But at the end of the day, I went to coaches, I went to therapists who said all the right things, but I was so within myself.
I think it comes down to tiny steps, right? Like doing really, really tiny things to care for
Mm,
ourselves and like show up for ourselves. I also think story is a really powerful antidote to that. Right. Like if you're around other people who have been through hard shit and come through
yeah, I
it, or
only
you
want to
read
be with those
stories of
people.
right? Like but you read stories of people who have done big, brave things or who have endured unimaginable loss. And it does help put things in perspective and it does help to shift that narrative
Yeah.
that feels like it's pervasive. It's like everything sucks. Everyone's out to get each other, right? Like, so yeah,
Doesn't help you.
that for me is the recipe stories, science, and tiny actions.
Ooh, love that. Okay, I want to ask you a question that I ask everyone on my
Okay.
podcast. And then, oh, wait, I do want to ask about your children's book because it sounds so interesting to me. The Worried Walrus.
Wally, the Worried Walrus, it's a whole series of children's books I published through the amazing bilingual app Encanto. I don't speak Spanish, so they
Oh, I like how you
translated
said
it.
Encanto.
Thank you. My friend Susie Jaramillo is the founder of the company, and like they're doing such big stuff. So the Canticos brand, Scalatina, all of that is her work, and she's really one of the most extraordinary creative minds, business leaders, most generous humans, like somebody I just adore and admire and feel like I am so fortunate to have as my friend in every way. And so, yeah, I was at the time, and story for another day, but my kids were both struggling with anxiety hugely.
Mm.
We were in the pandemic still, they were home, and we wrote the books together. I had been laid off. It was the first project I did after getting laid off. They were like, "Do you want to write a book?" And I was like, "Well, about what?"
And you had never written a children's
I'd
book,
never
right?
written a children's book, and I wrote it with the girls about the anxiety. I think they named him, and thanks to Susie and her storytelling gifts and teaching, I felt like I learned so much, and I'm really, really proud of those books. There's 8 of them in the series, I think, and
What just struck me was that in this description, I think it was on your website, this idea that we're, as parents and adults, tell kids, well, just be happy and don't like not to feel all these feelings. And then when they have these overwhelming feelings, we kind of just shut them down. And then kids don't know how to, confront them. And I think that's with anxiety. And I think anxiety, is one of the hardest emotions to go through, because when we get it, we want so desperately for it to go away. So we're like, I don't want to be anxious. And then you spiral and you get more anxious. So I love this idea, especially with kids, that they can go to a book or to a place that says like, it's okay, you have these big feelings, and, work through them. So, and this idea of just being happy. I hate toxic positivity.
Such a waste.
We can uplift, but let's not be toxic and fake about it.
Right. Well, like going back to this whole question we were talking about earlier, if you ignore this stuff and judge your stuff, it just gets bigger.
Okay, let me ask. Yeah, the question I ask everyone on my pod is, do you think rejection gets easier as you get older?
Yes. I think rejection gets easier as you get more of it.
Yes.
So actually the goal is, and so again, I'm trained in behavioral science. And so I'm going to always turn to that as the foundation of my work. But this is true with everything. The more you do the thing, the easier it gets.
No one's ever said that.
Wow. Yeah, it's the truth. And so that's where like the thresholding, right? So like what feels like rejection, the more you do it, it takes a lot more to feel like rejection because you've gotten acclimated to that altitude of rejection and you're like, moving on. And is it going to happen the first time? Maybe not. Is it going to happen the 50th time? Maybe. It's a game of numbers, like really having to get in there. And I think that's what you're doing with this show. I think that's clearly what you're out to do with your life. And I think like the way to get there from a behavioral lens is to set, instead of outcome goals, set behavioral goals. So I'm going to set myself up to get rejected 10 times this month.
How do you deal with rejection now, like currently?
It's like,
or do you not get rejected?
It's so much a part of my life.
Okay.
And
in what way?
I like putting myself out there now because like at the beginning, that was the hardest and scariest part of being out on my own. Like if I were asking, a celebrity to do something for us at Weight Watchers, they were saying no to Weight Watchers when they ghosted me.
Right. Not cool celebrities, not cool.
I mean, I get it. It's kind of a loaded idea. Like, I don't know, body positivity, whatever. So many stories. But then when it was my own thing, right? Like that's a little more personal.
Yeah.
But I also think that if I'm not getting rejection, I'm probably not being very brave. So when I'm getting a bunch of yeses, that to me is actually the more worrisome sign because it means I'm like in a rut. I'm stuck at the same altitude and I'm doing only easy things. And I want to be growing. Like that's where I feel excited and energized. So like the goal is to get more no's.
Whoa, this is blowing my mind. Wow, this idea that if you're getting a bunch of yeses, you're in a standstill, like you feel like you're plateauing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're saying once you get that no, you regroup and kind of change course, and that helps you grow.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind.
It's like that's where we learn. Is at the threshold.
Every time I get a no.
That was the goal. I really think just saying to yourself, that was the goal. Because your brain has been telling you for the last 30 years that that's something to avoid. And so that's going to limit your courage and your capacity to put yourself out there.
Oh, what a beautiful gift. You've given me so many gifts in this podcast. See, you're like
questions. You are so like, it's so clear that you are so brave and so courageous. Like you are vulnerable. And of course you're funny and you have all sorts of other great talents and you have a cool voice and like we could go on and on about that obvious stuff, but like you're really freaking brave. And I just don't think you're giving yourself credit for how courageous you are and how tolerant you are. Like my daughter has OCD. And so like with OCD, what do? You go through exposure therapy.
Really?
Okay. And like that's the definitive treatment for it. And so like this show is exposure therapy for you.
Yeah, it totally is.
And going on Instagram today and saying, hey, everybody, this is so awkward for me, but a guest dared me to do this today. So I promised Aransas that I would come on here and say, please follow me because it would mean so much to me.
Yeah.
Like, then you're doing the thing and people will follow you and people will share it. And you just have to tell them exactly what you want. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. And you can say it just
Oof.
like that and be like, ha, that was so awkward. Right? Because like that's all any of us are out looking for is like honesty.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. Like, what are you going to get mad at me for being, honest? Yeah. And that's what
For
I
being
look for in
human.
others.
Ew.
Yeah.
Right. It's what you look for. So do I think we get braver with or more? Do I think rejection matters less as we age? Only because we've got more practice, hopefully. The question I ask everyone on my show,
Okay.
and I think you know this is coming because we've like spent the whole episode talking about it. How can we, as a community of people who love to lift up others, how can we lift you up, Jess?
Oh, is it a one? Is it a one-off?
No. Tell us your dreams, your hopes,
Oh my gosh.
your desires.
Now that I feel emotionally so naked right now and like vulnerable, how can we uplift me? Well, I guess listen to my podcast, support me in that way. This is obviously a huge venture. I've been trying to start a podcast for 8 years and talk about rejection. I felt that a podcast had to be 2 hosts. I was convinced that I wasn't interesting enough and that the only way I could start a podcast was with someone else. And I asked so many friends, really good friends, even my best friend, no. I was told no by everyone. And I was like, okay, I'll do a parenting podcast. I'll do this podcast. No, no, no. 8 years later, I saw Michelle and she was like, no, you're going to start it on your own. Mm-hmm. I was like, I am? Yeah, you don't need someone else. So yeah, I guess I want to be uplifted in that way of people listening to my show. I'm here to normalize rejection and grow from it and connect to people. And that's a big one. And I mean, I have a few projects in the works, but nothing like I can say out loud now, but just support and reach out to me. If you DM me, I'll DM you back. And if you want to connect to me, I'd love to be connected to you. And I'm always want to meet more creatives. And if you want to be on the pod and you have a story, DM me. I don't know. Is that good enough? Because see how awkward I am?
Yeah. I mean,
in my head, I'm like, I have so many things I want.
Easy things, right? Like none of those cost us anything. They might take us 2 seconds.
Well, I have another one. This is hard. This is a challenge.
Go.
I have a TV show, I think 3 or 4 movies. I want to make something. That's something I can share publicly. Like I want to either make a short film, a pilot, something that's attainable. I think a feature might be too hard at this point. Not to say that I shouldn't set big goals. But I need to be connected to people in the film business because I live in Miami. So I don't live in New York anymore. And so it's harder to reach those people. But I went to the Miami Film Fest and there is a huge, especially the Latin community, amazing filmmakers here. And somehow I need to get connected to them. So if there's some way to connect me to anyone local in South Florida, I want to go back into writing for film, acting in film, being in film, because as you know, it's magic. Being on set is magic when it's the right people, supportive people. And now as I'm older, I know that I want to create a set that's uplifters, that all the crew are happy to be there, that the cast is happy to be there. And even if it's 12-hour shoot and it's the last hour and we're exhausted, we're like, we are so grateful to be here. So that is something in my future that I do really want because although the business is painful sometimes, it's a magic place for me. It's a happy place for me.
I love that.
Is that good?
Such a great answer. And I want to just unpack it for just a second.
Okay. It's too much now. It's too much.
No. I think what I watched you do was make a vague ask initially. I mean, not the fault, like follow, subscribe. That's all clear. We know what to do. Introduce me to somebody who can help me make a movie. What? Like, I don't know what to do with that. Even as the super well-connected person, I don't know what to do. Help me meet people in the Miami area who are in the film industry. It got so much clearer. And so Kara and I call that precision manifesting. And literally it is about getting so specific about what it is we are trying to do because you have the clear vision, right? Like I can see now what your set looks like. And it's not people in LA. You want to meet, maybe someday you want to meet people in LA, but right now what you want to do is you want to meet people locally to where you are.
Yes.
So it just makes it so much easier for people to help us when we're really actually honest and clear about what we want.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens.
And allow myself to
want
ask
it.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're right. I did. And that's why I was like, let me go for a second time, because the first didn't feel inauthentic. It's true. Like, dudes fucking follow me because I need some help. But the dreamer in me is like, I want to meet more creatives, and I eventually want to go back to film and TV, and let's find a way. And at least I just put it out in the universe, even if no one, can help me. But they will.
did. You made it more real.
Yeah.
By saying it. And you now are going to be more tuned in to those people in your everyday life. So like this one ask is one thing, and maybe somebody will listen to it. Maybe somebody will read the show notes and help, but also the person most likely to find these people is you, because you're the one in Miami. So now you're going to say to people in Miami, I'm looking to meet other people in the film industry here in Miami. I really want to do a project locally. And people are going to be like, oh, cool. She doesn't want to just do LA projects. She wants to do a local project. And that's how it's going to happen. My precision manifesting right now is that I want to interview Jane Pauley this year. And then next year after my book comes out, I want her to interview me for CBS Sunday Morning. And it's going to be so cute. And so, because she was like my icon when I was a little girl, like that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, was be Jane Pauley. And so really like how to start this podcast, I was like, I'm going to go after my little Jane Pauley dream. And you probably don't even know who she is, because
I don't. I'm sorry.
It's
but
fine.
I know CBS Sunday morning. My parents watch it every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who she is. She's like little, right?
She's adorable. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know I totally know who she is. I just didn't know her name. Yeah.
She used to host like the Today Show or something when I was little. She was like OG Katie Couric.
Yes.
But like super warm and kind, and wrote a book about exactly what I wrote a book about, but for the generation before me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's kismet. It's meant to be.
It's kismet. It's meant to be. And yeah, I told my publisher, I was like, so how do we talk to her and my husband? So now everybody knows I want to talk to her, and I will.
Wow. I love that.
Like that's how it happens. We get the more specific we get. Kara and I talk about it as Queen Latifah-ing, because there was this guy that she was working with who like had a project and all he wanted was Queen Latifah. And we were like, oh my God, this makes the assignment so easy. Because if he had just said, I want a tall, powerful Black woman, we would have been like, well, like, who do I know?
Right.
But then he was like, I want Queen Latifah. And we were like, great. Now we know what to do. We know the assignment. So it's like, give us the assignment.
I like that.
I think
that's so helpful though, to remember to get specific. Because I think, as you said, naturally we're a little bit, or I'm uncomfortable asking for what I want. And so it's easier to be vague, to be like, yeah, so I just want like, someone to, versus no, what is it specifically? Mm-hmm. And then someone can actually help, because they'll go, okay, I do know someone in Miami who did whatever it is. So I like that. So you said precision manifesting. Is that coined by you?
I guess it is. I was like,
I could talk to you forever.
Like, did anybody? I know we're so far over time, and I've probably got a client waiting on the other line. This has been so much fun.
So much fun.
You are amazing. I'm so glad
we met. You.
Thank you for your time. I'm so excited to air this. Thanks for asking, reaching out. Like, let's keep doing it. For those of you listening, come to one of our Lift and Be Lifted sessions. Become a paid subscriber to the Uplifters Podcast Substack. It's like $8 a month. And there's so much goodness and so many amazing women. And like, let's all just keep creating a world where we lift each other and get lifted.
Yeah.
And
thank you
go
for saying
follow
yes
Jess in all the places, and follow me in all the places.
Yes.
If you aren't already, best place to find me is Substack. And then after that, like all the like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook places.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the things.
All those places.
Again, thank you for saying yes to me. For me, I don't know if I was brave or awkward and weird, but sidelining to ask you to collaborate, and you being like, okay. So thank you for saying that without really knowing me. I appreciate this. This conversation was eye-opening and magical and beautiful. And I think my new word is magical now. I want magic in my life. I'm inviting magic. So again, thank you for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Talk soon, Jess.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching the Uplifters Podcast. If this inspired you, hit subscribe and tap the bell to stay uplifted. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little lift today. Big love.
Painted water sunshine with rosemary and thyme. Dwell in the perplexing, though you find it vexing. Toss a star and hover, be your own best lover. Relish in a new prime, plant a tree in springtime. Dance with idle hindsight, bring the sun to twilight.